14 Easter eggs and movie secrets you didn't catch. Sam Raimi's automobile. Director Sam Raimi must really love his 1973 Oldsmobile Delta 88 because it appeared in more movies than some actors. This is the car that Ash drives in both Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. You see it again as the Death Machine in Army of Darkness, and the car plays Uncle Ben's car in Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. It's also the car of the creepy gypsy in Drag Me to Hell. Believe it or not, but you can also spot the same car in Darkman, The Quick and the Dead, Crimewave, A Simple Plan, and The Gift. The Departed. Director Martin Scorsese was such a fan of Howard Hawks' 1932's rendition of Scarface, where a large X would appear each time a character was about to be murdered, that he decided to use it himself. He used this technique when creating the film The Departed. The X placed in different scenes in the movie was supposed to clue the viewer into who was going to die before the end of the film. Here you can see it between Leonardo and Matt. In this picture, you can see the mark behind Jack Nicholson, and several more times behind Matt Damon, before the Grim Reaper finally got him. The Thing. For most of us, this movie secret went way over our heads. But to be fair, it's not our fault. If you understand Norwegian, you could find the plot of the entire movie within the first 5 minutes. In the opening scene, a group of Norwegian hunters end up in an American camp after chasing a dog. While they are running, they are shouting something in Norwegian that the majority of us never understood. Here's what they said. "Get the hell away! It's not a dog, it's a thing! It's imitating a dog, it's not real! Get away, you idiots!" Of course, just like the Americans in the movie, we had no idea, and were forced to figure out the concept ourselves. E.T. and Star Wars. When Steven Spielberg created E.T., he made sure to include some nods to one of his friends in his films, George Lucas and the Star Wars franchise. The most notable piece is a little Yoda, although more Star Wars references can be found throughout. To send a message back, Lucas chose to include some rather familiar characters into a scene where Queen Amidala pleads her case and calls for action against the Trade Federation. As you can see in this picture, the 3 aliens gathered here look an awful lot like our extraterrestrial friend. We guess E.T. phoned home after all. King Kong. The moment a Morse code message was sent during the ship's approach to Skull Island, we all believed that it issued an arrest warrant. If any of us actually knew Morse code and took the time to figure out what the message actually was, we would discover that it wasn't an arrest warrant at all, but rather a silly message that said, "Show me the monkey." Batman and his creator. For those of you who don't know, Bob Kane is the creator of the original Batman comic strip that was first published back in 1939. In an homage to his great character, Tim Burton managed to sneak a reference to Bob Kane himself. Towards the beginning of the movie, reporter Alex Knox walks into the office and is handed a sketch of the Batman. You can see the sketch that he was handed in this picture, and as you can see, the signature down on the bottom left-hand corner is Bob Kane's. The Avengers. This movie secret would be a hard one to discover if you had to figure it out all by yourself. When the official movie posters were released for the movie The Avengers Age of Ultron, the posters were split into 2 groups, each with its own lead character. As you can see in this picture, the left movie poster shows Iron Man in the front and center, but in the poster on the right, Captain America takes the front spot. This discrepancy is supposed to key the viewer into the chaos and turmoil that lays ahead for these two, who seem to always be fighting for that #1 spot. Jurassic Park. What started out as a famed tradition turned into a memorial for a great actor as well. We can all agree that it isn't Jurassic Park without John Hammond, but since Hammond would be passed before Jurassic World, director Colin Trevorrow made sure to commemorate the man by giving the park a bronze statue of the park's creator. Since actor Richard Attenborough passed away before the movie's release, the statue ended up becoming a memorial to the man, not the character. Iron Man. After Iron Man returns to his workshop to remove his suit after an encounter with the F-22s, you can see what looks like a prototype of Captain America's shield just lying on the workbench in the background. Sherman and Peabody and Back to the Future. Sherman and Mr. Peabody are 2 cartoon characters that have a time machine, which is funny enough. Salute to them in the classic film Back to the Future. When Marty crashed into a family farmhouse in the 1950s, calls on and refers to his son as Sherman. A look at the farmhouse mailbox shows the family's last name is none other than Peabody. Godzilla and The Simpsons. Who knew that the makers of Godzilla were such Simpsons fans? During a taxi chase in New York City, Matthew Broderick throws an identification plate out the window, trying to grab the attention of a military man who was standing nearby. The name on the ID card was Armin Tamzarian, which is the real name of The Simpsons' Principal Skinner. The voice that plays Principal Skinner is actually in the film as well, and plays the part of a news reporter. If you look no further than the news reporter's secretary, you'll find Nancy Cartwright, who happens to be the voice of Bart Simpson. Evil Dead and Wes Craven. Wes Craven and Sam Raimi have been including Easter eggs in the world for some time now. In the film Evil Dead 2, Freddy Krueger's glove can be spotted hanging above the tool shed door when Ash bursts in, with his girlfriend's head still gnawing at his hand. In The Hills Have Eyes, Wes Craven made sure to include a movie poster of Jaws, in a way to suggest that the film was scarier. In a response to that move, Sam Raimi included a Hills Have Eyes poster on one of the walls in the basement of the cabin in the first Evil Dead. Another one to look out for is the torn Evil Dead poster that can be seen in The Nightmare on Elm Street. Who knows what poster will show up in which film next? Inception. You may not have realized it, but when you were busy trying to unravel the complex notions of the movie Inception, Christopher Nolan, the director, was sneaking an idea into your mind without you even realizing it, just like the premise of the whole movie. The idea that was inserted is one of a French woman singing. In the movie, whenever a character is about to wake up, the song title that can be seen on screen plays in the background, cluing the viewer into the change of environment within the film. During the last 45 minutes of the film, you hear an ultra-dramatic instrumental, which is actually the same French song, just slowed down almost beyond recognition. If you take a moment to think about it, it really does make sense. The song is played whenever the characters are about to wake up. However, time passes more slowly within dreams, so while this song is playing at a normal pace outside of the dream world, those within the dream only hear the slower version. Forrest Gump. The two famous lines in the movie, the name's Forrest Gump, and my name's Forrest Gump. People call me Forrest Gump. Were both made up by Thomas Hanks on the spot, and director Robert Zemeckis loved them so much he kept both in the final cut. Also, the man who played the part of Bubba, Michael T. Williamson, donned a prosthetic lip in order to make it jut out farther than before. Because of this jutted lip, Michael T. found it rather difficult to find work after the release of Forrest Gump, since casting directors believed he had some sort of disability. And even though many thought that Tom Hanks had been practicing, he actually didn't make any of those miraculous shots shown in the ping pong games. CGI was used to create the illusion of every hit. So what's something you learned today that you didn't already know? Let us know down in the comments section below, and while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to see more awesome videos just like this.